Hello everybody and welcome to a grammar tutorial. We'll tell you everything you need to know in this video on the past perfect, and we have the simple past perfect for you and of course the past perfect progressive. So let's start with the past perfect simple. Now, this is the formation of the past perfect. Formation means how do you actually build this tense. Let's have a couple of sentences to start with. After we had finished dinner, we went to the cinema. Had finished is your simple past perfect here. Or after Fred had spent his holidays in Italy, he wanted to learn Italian. And had spent is your simple past perfect. And a third one, she was watching a video after the kids had gone to bed. And had gone is your past perfect here. So how do you actually build this tense? It's not too complicated. You use had or hadn't, of course, which is the negative form, plus the past participle. Had finished, had spent, and had gone. And please watch out for your irregular third forms. There's one in spent and there's one in gone. So had or hadn't plus the past participle. Let's have a closer look at the past participle next. Now, usually the past participle is easy to produce. You have words like to play, and then you put an ed to the end of the infinitive, and this is how you form the past participle. Now, but what about this one? You have to hurry, and hurried is the past participle, and all of a sudden there is ied. Now, this is your rule. If there's a vowel plus y, then the y stays, so there's y-ed, play. A is a vowel, then there's the y, and this is played, ed. And if there's, however, a consonant, which is in Harry is the R, is a consonant, consonant plus Y, then it turns into IED. So RY becomes hurried, IED. So please remember vowel plus Y, YED, and consonant plus Y, IED. Now, the next one is easy. To live becomes lived, and to love becomes loved. So you see there's no double E here. That there's no silent E. To live, the E is silent, which means that you don't hear it. And to love, you also don't hear the E, so it's a silent E, and it's lived and loved, and of course only one E. So to stop actually becomes stopped and has a double P. And what about to hug, and which becomes hugged, which has a double G. Now the rule here is there is a double consonant after a short vowel. To stop has a short O, and this is why you have stopped with a double P. And to hug has a short U, and this is why you have hugged with a double G. So please remember double consonant after a short vowel for the past participle. All right, so much for the formation, and now let's talk about the usage of the past perfect simple. Usage is when do you actually use this tense. Now here is your sentence. When we had finished lunch, we went to bed. Had finished is your simple past perfect here. Now why do we have the simple past perfect? When we had finished lunch is a finished action. Lunch is over and before another action started. And the other action that started, we went to bed, is in the simple past, and the action that had just finished is in the past perfect simple. So when we had finished lunch is actually before the going to bed. So finished action before another action started. And here is your rule. Use the past perfect to express the idea that something had happened before another action in the past. So the other action in the past here in this sentence is we went to bed, and we use the past perfect for everything that had happened before, like when we had finished lunch. Sometimes you also have signal words, and after, when, or before can actually signal the past perfect. So much for the past perfect simple. Now let's turn to the past perfect progressive, and again we start with the formation, which is how do we actually produce the past perfect progressive. And here we have a couple of sentences. She had been cooking dinner when her son arrived. Had been cooking is your past perfect progressive. They had been talking for over an hour before Tony arrived. Had been talking is your past perfect progressive. And he wanted to sit down because he had been standing all day at work. Had been standing is your past perfect progressive. So how do you build the tense? It's had or hadn't plus been plus continuous, and the continuous, of course, is the ing form. Had or hadn't plus been plus continuous. Had been cooking, had been talking, had been standing. Good, and now the usage of the past perfect progressive, which means actually when do you use this tense. Again, we have a look at a sentence here. They had been talking for over an hour before Tony arrived. Had been talking is your past perfect progressive. Now, in this case, there is a finished action. They had been talking, but here the duration is stressed, which means that we say exactly how long this action has actually lasted, for over an hour. And when a duration is stressed, which means that when we say how long something has lasted, then we actually use the ing form. So in this case, they had been talking for over an hour, and then Tony arrived. This is another action that started, and this action is in the past tense. So here is your rule. Use the past perfect progressive to show that something started in the past and continued up to another time in the past. So in our sentence, the talking had been going on until Tony arrived. So use the past perfect progressive to show that something started in the past and continued up to another time in the past. You also want to see the rules for the present perfect progressive, especially the ones on the for and since, which can also be signal words for the past perfect progressive. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. For more grammar videos and exercises, you can actually search here on YouTube, and you can also go to our homepage.